you don't yourself do something, you didn't do it. And you're asking for picture. And you wonder why God cost you useless black people. You don't know what justice means. You have no idea what justice means. You don't know what justice means. Useless black African people. You don't know what justice. Your constitution says you cannot try anybody unless the law is written. Show me the written law. Show me the written law. I want to talk to you. Show me the law. Don't try that rubbish. Don't try it. Don't try it. Don't try rubbish. Don't try rubbish. Useless people. You don't know law. You don't know law. Your own constitution you don't respect. Supreme Court judgment you don't respect. Then why are we in a court of law? Why are we in a court of law? I ask. Nonsense. You think Britain can ask you to join me and you join me? You are dreaming. You are dreaming. I'm telling you that you are dreaming. Yes. Okay, what's happening? No, I'm going to 5. I'm going to 5. Okay. Is okay. So the final agreed to you. No, that's what it's saying. Going to 5. Yeah. It's coming. That's what it said. Okay. I don't know anyone you were. Yeah, brother. Young man, very wonderful. No, nothing. Mark. Yes. Okay, thank you.
A content creator has asked Nigerians living in the diaspora what they think about Trump's threat to invade Nigeria over alleged Christian genocide, and the responses reveal a deeply divided diaspora community. In a viral video making the rounds on social media, several Nigerian Americans shared contrasting views on Trump's position, with some supporting potential intervention, while others condemned it as unwarranted interference.
Some people are saying that the intervention of the international body, that's America right now, will bring about stability. Some other people are saying they should leave us, we're going to handle things ourselves. What do you say?
We don't need Trump to handle insecurity in Nigeria.
We can do it ourselves.
110%.
So, but we need the shake, and it was necessary.
We need a wake-up call. Maybe that's what Trump is doing, which makes sense, but he doesn't necessarily have to physically engage.
Where have you ever seen all over the world that America went into and got a place? Go and check Iraq, check Libya, check everywhere. Everywhere they went, they destroyed the place. Let's not go to Nigeria. We don't want it.
But Nigeria is a sovereign state.
He's a racist. He doesn't like Nigeria at all.
Do you think Donald Trump has Nigerians' best interest at heart, or do you think he has a selfish reasons?
America always have interests wherever they go. It's just like what happened in Afghanistan. Once they veteran interest, they will come with confusion like this now to get what they want to get from there. Then the people there will still benefit from that. That's why I say it's both.
Now I want you to stand on a particular point.
I give it to Trump.
You want him to come in?
Yes.
That country needs to be reformed. So if he's able to handle it, fine with him, without an interest.
The security thing, if they don't sort it out, they let them come and take over and sort it out.
I think he's making an impact and it's a welcome development.
I would say Trump is right if you come to Nigeria. The way they are ruling Nigeria, it's not the right way. I remember about 4 weeks ago, I saw all those big people in the north, both governors, they sit down together, they want to negotiate with terrorists. Those terrorists, the people are looking for.
And that was a big problem. I mean, that is a big problem, negotiating with terrorists. Well, the split among Nigerians in a diaspora community mirror the broader national debate, proving that even geographical distance hasn't created consensus on this sensitive issue. This division could further complicate Nigeria's diplomatic efforts to present a united front against Trump's threats. In the meantime, a group in Lagos staged a peaceful protest on Thursday against plans by the United States military to invade Nigeria. The demonstrators gathered to express their opposition to President Trump's claims of a Christian genocide in Nigeria. The protesters carried placards with various inscriptions rejecting foreign intervention and calling for respect for Nigerian sovereignty. Let's take a look.
Give us a logo, America. Give us a logo, give us a logo, give us a logo, America. Give us a logo, give us a logo, give us a logo, America. Give us a logo, give us a logo, give us a logo, America. Give us a logo.
Bimba is singing along. America, leave us alone, no, leave us alone, no. I mean, you know, this peaceful demonstration
they have a right
reflects
of protest.
growing public concern about the escalating diplomatic tensions between Nigeria and the United States, with the protests viewing Trump's threats as an affront to national sovereignty. You have a right, they have a right to protest.
And they're not disturbing public order, apparently. Gosh, okay, there's a lot of things to unpack here, but let's start with, you know, those who are saying that, oh, Nigeria is a sovereign state and so forth. Yesterday, I made a point around the social contract, which is that government has a duty to people, and people in response will pay their taxes and be law-abiding citizens. It's the contract between government and people. But when the government doesn't do its duty to protect people, to provide security, to provide welfare and all of those things, then there's a trust deficit. It's a broken contract, and that broken contract takes away legitimacy from the government, and then people feel that they need to turn to whoever will help them for support. That's the situation we have on the ground right now. However, when you now look at the some of the implications of this support is where it now gets a little bit complicated. So now when we look at America, I like to use historical antecedents. Whether it's Republican, whether it's Democrat, the honest truth is that neither is better than the other when it comes to issues concerning warmongering.
Of course, we need help. There's religious persecution. I mean, even the Republican senator, the sort of statistics that he reeled out while he was talking about the Christian genocide is quite alarming.
I was saying that whether it's a Democrat government or whether it's a Republican government, it was a Democrat government under Barack Obama that caused the instability in Libya, that then caused the outburst of terrorists who moved south into the Sahel and caused the problem we have now in northern Nigeria. That's problem number one. Problem number two is, I mentioned it yesterday, we go back to the 19th century. Usman Danfodio invaded northern Nigeria, and what was his agenda? It was a jihad. It was because he was pursuing pure Islamization. He believed in the purity of the religion. Now you have that colonial era of Nigeria that took place. That's the first colonization of Nigeria. Of course, the second colonization came, and it was a Christian colonization. How have we managed these diverse relationships that were created from a historical context? Now, in terms of America, leave us alone and so forth,
right.
You know, again, like I said, when people feel that their government is not doing what they need to, you can't blame them for turning to wherever they think they can get the assistance. But the point that I want to drive home is that you also have to look at the antecedent of the person you're looking to be your helper.
Right.
Whether it be a Republican government or Democratic government, we've got Libya, we've got Sudan, we've got Somalia, we've got Vietnam, the list is endless, Iraq, Afghanistan, the list is endless. So is American intervention the solution? Do they have the capacity and the track record? Have they proven in the past that they create more order than disorder?
Well, those are questions that are left to be answered at this moment. I mean, the idea of collaboration, I'll keep reiterating it on this table, is a welcoming development. This is what we need, since we have not been able to tackle the menace of insecurity for decades.
Well, let's come back to our issue of this counterterrorism and back to this remark by President Trump, because opinions are divided on it. Some people say Nigeria is a sovereign nation, which you rightly mentioned, and a lot of other people have welcomed the idea of this invasion in Nigeria. Now, I'd like to know, what do you think is the implication of this internal division between Nigerians?
I think the internal division are not with decision makers. The internal division you are experiencing is on social media. And some of us that are critical don't make our analysis based on social media divisions that you see in the country. You look at the institutional analysis.
But they seem to be getting the attention of the foreign nations.
The attention of foreign nations, and like I told you, Nigeria belongs to the United Nations. And that makes Nigeria open for any country, some of the superpowers, to be interested in what is happening in Nigeria. Because human rights is an international matter. Okay, so things cannot be, atrocity cannot be happening in Nigeria and expect these strong international countries to be quiet. They will not be quiet. But what I know is that what we need is strategic engagement, diplomatic engagement. And what President Trump is saying is not that he's invading Nigeria. He's coming to help Nigeria to stop this menace. It's a menace. He cannot be a president of the United States of America, one of the big boys we have in the world, and watch people in Nigeria being molested in their own country. You cannot sleep in your country. You cannot sleep with your two eyes closed in your country. Look at one of your colleagues the other time. We are even talking about terrorism. He said, your colleagues in Arise TV died just like that. A young promising lady, just like that, died. Okay, so there are criminal activities going on everywhere. So Mr. Trump is not threatening to invade Nigeria. He's only threatening the institution to brace up, to stand. If by today you don't hear the news of killing in Plateau, killing in Benue, herdsmen attack, this and this, for 1 month you don't hear it, President Trump will not talk about Nigeria. But if you continue to hear there is herdsmen attack, there is this, there are this in Plateau, in Benue, in Adamawa, in Borno, President Trump will be interested. Other nations can be interested. And look, there is nothing wrong with international partnership to combat terrorism. Because if you allow it in your country, it will gradually penetrate into another country. From there, it will have a whole region. And if it captures West Africa, who knows what will happen in the entire African countries. So that is why it's a burden to Nigeria already, and international communities are already trying to support. So I want to see it as a support, as a relationship. Let's partner, synergize. Let Mr. President appoint diplomats, seasoned diplomats that will engage with the US, with UK, with all the international communities. Let's come together and see how we can solve our insecurity problem in Nigeria. Let's not be divided and say, let them attack Nigeria. After all, it's still good as the president. If here is hot, it will be hot for everybody, both the opposition and the people in power. If here is sweet, the road that ES Wike is using the FCT, am I not using it? Is it only APC members that are using it? If here is peaceful and business is thriving in Nigeria, I will benefit. And of course, that is why I still believe that if Labour Party will be allowed to implement their policies in Nigeria, some of these things will be 80% resolved.
Okay, talking about Labour Party and implementing some of its policies. Now, what kind of, how can the National Assembly also in its oversight function help in this? Most times you hear a sitting IGP say, we're withdrawing mobile policemen from dignitaries, and they never get it implemented. Do you think that the National Assembly can help play a role to ensure that we have the kind of policing and security we have?
They are, in fact, the National Assembly, I'm sorry to say, because tomorrow, I may happen to appear there, maybe their appointment, or be a member. But the truth is that any nation that works, the parliament must be functional. The parliament must be able to stand their feet and say, this must stop. They will engage the executive. But the current parliament we have today is not doing that job. I'm sorry. They are not doing that job. They have a great role to play because they are the beneficiaries. Go to every ministry. It's honorable members and senators that are dragging capital projects. They are dragging it. They have left their oversight function. What they now do, minister, put this job for me, put this job for me. They won't question the minister, how are you spending, what is the performance of your budget? They don't do that because there's campaign for project to do. And our citizens now expect honorable members and senators to build road, not to make law. So if you're a honorable member, you're a senator, you've not done street light, you've not done school, you've not built road, they won't see you as a representative. Nigerians, because of lack of governance, good governance, have begin to interchange roles. They expect that honorable member will build road instead of the governor or the local government chairman to engage in road building and electrification, rural electrification. They expect honorable member. So if Nigeria must function, the National Assembly must first of all purge themselves. Travel and go and see how many police officers that follows them. A lawmaker. Is it supposed to be so? No. A lawmaker is supposed to drive himself. Go and see the amount of security that the Senate President and the House of Reps Speaker is pulling on the road. Almost competing with that of the president and the in fact, that of the Senate President is more than that of the Vice President of the country. So they are only securing themselves. They are interested in themselves. If they are interested in Nigerians, let them make a law today that everybody must apply Lokoja Road.
All right, Mr. Kennedy.
Let them make a law.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kashi. I think what the president is expected to do is to put his house in order. He is the chief commander, is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and that means that he should take, seriously the issues of the lives, protection of lives and property of specifically Christians who, from the information and the data available to the President of the United States, that Christians in Nigeria are under serious threats. Not threats from the government, not threats from their fellow countrymen, but threats from jihadists, threats from terrorists. And I think that the president right now should be all the service chiefs should be on the table, coming out with operational manuals on how to look at these issues, look at how Christians in Nigeria are being threatened, have suffered serious
serious threats and serious attacks from these terrorists. And of course, I know you have not forgotten the Yewa crisis in Benue. You've not forgotten the attacks in Plateau State. You've not forgotten some attacks within the Northeast. So like you said, it didn't start from President Tinubu's tenure. But the question is, what is the president doing when this incident happened, when he became president? The issue of the Yewa killings that took place in Benue happened during the tenure of this president. The issue that happened in Plateau State happened during the tenure of this president. What has he done? What are his plans? What are the plans or ground that he has put in place to avoid the recurrence of some of these attacks? That to us and to any reasonable person is what is important, and that is what the president of the United States is saying.
All right, so now, of course, the president has responded, but I want to find out from you, regardless of what is happening in Nigeria, people say that Nigeria still remains a sovereign nation. And very, very important point, noting that this should be an internal affairs. And if you do not ask for help, no one can possibly give you help. Talk to me about this.
That is the very interesting part. And I've listened to a lot of persons.
Mr. Giwa, can you hear us?
I was trying to find out from you, your perspective about our sovereignty, and more importantly, the steps that are being taken by President Donald Trump. Some are saying that it's premature.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was addressing that point before the itch. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of persons, including government officials, even the president have explained or tried to explain the fact that yes, Nigeria is a sovereign state. Oh, the Nigerian sovereignty is protected. Oh, Donald Trump, the president of America, cannot come into Nigeria, and all of those arguments by lawyers. But I want to state very emphatically that that is not correct, and I will tell you why. And when people make this argument, they have to understand what is the sovereignty in terms of Nigeria as a state. Section 42, Section 14, Sub 2, Paragraph A tells us the sovereignty of Nigeria. The Constitution, Section 14, Sub 2, Paragraph A of the 1999 Constitution says that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, to whom the government derives its power and authority. I will state that again. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria. Section 14, Sub 2, Paragraph A of the 1999 Constitution as amended. And so, it says sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, and from whom the government of the state derives its power and its authority. So, the people that President Trump wants to protect are not Americans. The people that President Trump wants to protect are not Chadians. The people that President Trump is talking about, they are not Ghanaians. They are Nigerian Christians, people of Nigeria, whom sovereignty belongs. So it is, as a matter of fact, if President Trump says that Nigerians, Christians in Nigeria, who seem to be threatened by the terrorists, that if the government did not take appropriate action, he will have to intervene for the protection of Nigerian Christians who form part of Nigerian people to whom sovereignty belongs. So it therefore means that even Donald Trump action is part of protection of the sovereignty of Nigeria, because sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, and the Christian people are part of Nigeria.
Well, what I actually want the government to do, the government at both ends, is to approach this matter with sincerity of purpose and with candor. From the Nigerian end, the narrative has been that there is no religious persecution, no religious group is targeted. That is not entirely true. It is also true that the government is not directly responsible for any act of violence against Nigerian people. That has to be very clearly established. That the insecurity in the country is caused mainly by the activities of non-state actors that the government is opposed to, and that the government has tried to find a way to combat in the past 15 years. These are the facts. I wish that the government sticks to the facts so that the Americans can see us as serious-minded, sincere, so we can work together to tackle this problem. I have seen how government officials in the past couple of days and weeks have labored to explain the fact, to explain that Targets, violence in Nigeria is not targeted against any particular group. It's just a random, it kills everybody and all that. Let me put things in context. There are various groups attacking people in Nigeria and killing people, causing violence. Some of them are simply criminal terrorists, economic terrorists who are killing everybody, kidnapping everybody to gain economic advantage. Those in Zamfara, Sokoto, and the rest who are trying to cordon off where we have gold and other minerals, creating insecurity to be able to have access to these things. They belong to this category. They don't have respect for anybody. They kill anybody along the line. But there are also groups that are targeting Christians. We must admit that. If we don't admit that, it will show insensitivity to Christians. It also shows lack of seriousness to tackle the problem. I mean, the attacks against people in Benue, in Plateau, Southern Kaduna, a whole lot of them are targeted against Christians. They kidnap priests, they kill them, they attack churches, burn them down, kill people. They choose religious holidays, Easter, Christmas, and attack. And, there is no way anybody can try to explain that away. The story is told, for instance, of the Abubakar, Abdullah Abubakar, I think is his name, in Plateau. The Imam who shielded Christians in 2022, that, the late President Buhari gave a national award. These were Christians that were attacked. Before the man shielded Christians, they had killed over 100. And the man was able to shield them, give them protection, which was why he was praised. But if we are to reverse the trend, if the man were not an imam, if he were a pastor, he would have been killed. He would have just been among the casualties. And there are so many other instances of that, Christians are targeted. Sometimes even when they kidnap people randomly and take them to the bush, they try to get them to convert to, Islam. Some of them who are Muslims, they are given fair treatment. Some of them are even released. Those ones that refuse to, convert, they are either killed. I mean, Shaibu and all the other ones are, Shaibu and we know the stories in the public domain. So we must admit the fact that Christians are targeted by some groups. Okay. There are also some groups who also kill people indiscriminately across the country. Like when we move to the southeast, for instance, the threat against the ordinary man in the southeast is not the same as the threat against the policeman in the southeast. There is particular target against security officials in the southeast. It is true that they are killing everybody, but it's also true that they are also targeting security men and women in the southeast. If we don't admit that, we will also not be able to address the problem in the southeast correctly. Is this honesty and candor I wish the government adopts so that we can find a solution to this problem and then address it. Then from the American end, if it is to protect lives of Nigerians, including those of Christians, is the real desire. Military attack against maybe some targets, maybe in Sambisa Forest, someplace in Borno and Yobe, will not be the solution. That would maybe degrade them to some extent. But we know the nature of terrorism. You have to be patient to be able to combat terrorism. You have to work with those who know the terrain. The Americans alone cannot be. So they plan to come and just attack some places where you have terrorists and all that will also not be the solution to the problem. So a synergy between Nigerian government and other foreign agencies that countries that want to assist, including the US, will be the way to go. Denial on the part of Nigeria is not the right approach. Okay. A random attack on the part of the US against some terrorist camps and just ending it there will also not be the solution. So there has to be a way for the two sides to work together so solution can be found to this problem.
On February 14th, 2024, Bishop Wilfred Chikpa Anaigbe of the Catholic Diocese of Makurdi made serious allegations before the United States Congress alleging systematic killings of Christians farming communities in Benue State, claiming that over 1,000 Christians had been killed, over 160 churches destroyed, and large swaths of land seized in the past decade. The bishop also testified on March 12, 2025, before the U.S. House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Africa, accompanied by Reverend Father Remigius Iluha. Let's take a look.
Constitutionally, we are a secularist country, but our unity has been fragile. Political and religious actions and even public speech have been carefully managed to avoid accusations of religious bias. A long-term Islamic agenda to homogenize the population has been implemented over several presidencies through a strategy to reduce and eventually eliminate the Christian identity of half of the population. The quest to Islamize the land appears high on the agenda of some of the powerful and influential Muslims in Nigeria. There is a campaign to take land to spread Islam, and there is the hemorrhaging of Christian farmers from the central region of Nigeria and Benue State and Makurdi Diocese in particular, as they are forced to abandon fertile lands that used to feed the nation, which classify Benue as the food basket of the nation. Militant Fulani herdsmen are terrorists destroying society.
They steal and vandalize, they kill and boast about it. They kidnap and rape, and they enjoy total impunity from the elected authorities. None of them have been arrested and brought to justice. This is supported by the corrupt system in which we operate and the abject poverty among us, which allow the criminal to easily attract more recruits and prey on more victims. At the end of 2024, several villages were warned by the attackers of the upcoming violence, and the leaders called the police for defense ahead of time. But they did not come, and the Christian massacres, almost customary, took place, killing hundreds in Plateau and Benue. The militant also burned down the 8 Catholic churches of St. Mary's Parish in the Diocese of Boko, which in Benue State, as well as the parish house, clinics, schools, and other houses. We live in fear because at any point it can be our turn to be killed, but to remain silent is to die twice. So, I have chosen to speak. I speak on behalf of the millions who are in the camps. I speak on behalf of those whose loved ones have been killed, but no one has even offered a word of consolation to them. I speak on behalf of the thousands of young girls who have been adopted and raped because no one, not even the media, mentions them anymore. Foremost, I speak on behalf of my flock who are unable to worship freely and unable to return to their ancestral farms and homes because that land has been ruthlessly taken from them by the armed herdsmen. I request and I plead, I ask you to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern.
Bishop there requesting for Nigeria to be redesignated as a country of particular concern. Well, the bishop's testimony highlights the deep contested narrative around religious violence in Nigeria. While the bishop presents specific allegations of systematic targeting, government officials maintain that terrorism affects all Nigerians regardless of faith. This leaves international observers to navigate the competing accounts of Nigeria's complex security challenges. And Rufai, so we've seen the bishop here and, other senators in America and, journalists across the globe submitting these sort of reports of what the bishop has described as a cleansing of Christians in the farmlands in his area. You heard him cry out. And we've seen these reports reverberate across the world right now after Trump's singular tweet. Your thoughts? People have said, Trump didn't have evidence, Trump doesn't have information, but we don't have the information that the US Department of State has at this moment.
Oji, God bless you for playing that tape. But you see, after playing that tape, I will still tell you that what that priest did report is still underreporting, because many of the cases are not reported. I read out a message about a vicar in Kaduna today, 600 million being axed. Many cases like that. But Oji, because I know the country I'm from, I keep saying, let us stop the killings. Because the country I'm from has now changed the conversation about Christians and Muslims, which is never the case. The point is, how will people commit crime and the state does not bring them down? And the state does not act as a deterrent from them to keep committing that crime. That's what I have a problem with. So that's why I campaign for stopping the killing. Because in the last 1 week, the conversation has shifted to which religion is being killed the most. And please, we should never fall into that confusion, because it's that kind of confusion the political actors want. In all of this, none of them have come out to say, these are the advised steps we are going to take to stop the killings. The conversation has been, call Trump a liar, pit religions against each other, make a case that others too are being killed. But does it stop the killing of people?
No.
It doesn't. No. So please, the charge for the Nigerian government today, and the charge for everybody, Christians and Muslims and Shakmono worshippers and Ifa worshippers, we should all be united. We are all Nigerians.
All right.
The question is, how can we stop this killing?
Right.
The government should be charged to stop this killing.
Right.
If they're going to employ more military, if they're going to employ more security architecture, stop the killing. That's all we want.
Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's insistence that he has no case to answer as the court adjourns. Judgment to November 20th, 2025 continues to fuel national attention on both the legal and political dimensions of his trial. Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, maintains that his prosecution is politically motivated and that his actions were centered on self-determination, a right protected under international law. The adjournment signals yet another chapter in Nigeria's long and contentious legal battle over issues of secession, human rights, and national unity. Meanwhile, in a parallel global development, former US President Donald Trump has again commented on Nigeria's internal security, outlining what he described as America's light, medium, and heavy military strategies to combat terrorism in Nigeria. Trump stated that the United States is committed to ending what he called the Christian genocide occurring in parts of the country. His remarks reignited debate over the framing of Nigeria's security challenges as religious persecution rather than complex socio-political violence involving insurgency, banditry, and communal conflict. Analysts note that while Trump's intentions appear humanitarian, his rhetoric risks oversimplifying Nigeria's multifaceted crisis. Security experts emphasize that Nigeria's violence has affected both Christian and Muslim communities, and any international response must respect Nigeria's sovereignty and support existing peace and security frameworks rather than impose external intervention. In essence, these two developments, Kanu's ongoing legal defense and Trump's renewed foreign policy statements, underscore Nigeria's delicate intersection of domestic justice and international diplomacy. The way both issues unfold in the coming weeks will significantly shape Nigeria's political stability, human rights record, and global relations heading into 2026.